Eileen is heartbroken as Julie dies. The moment Eileen feared most arrives much earlier than she had imagined next week, as her sister Julie sadly loses her life. After unexpectedly returning to Weatherfield in February, Julie eventually disclosed to her loved ones that she had been diagnosed with advanced stage 4 sarcoma and was not expected to live past the summer. With encouragement from her family, Julie moved into number 11 to spend her final days in comfort and even rekindled her relationship with her ex, Brian. Over just a few weeks, Julie's condition has rapidly worsened, prompting Brian to arrange a wheelchair to help her get around. In the upcoming episodes, Julie uses her phone to film a heartfelt message, sharing her thoughts on love. Meanwhile, George prepares a romantic night in an effort to express his affection for Eileen, but his gesture doesn't go as planned. Eileen is quick to remind him that he was supposed to take her and Julie on a scenic trip to the lake, a promise he has completely forgotten. Determined not to let the day slip away, Eileen arranges a taxi, and the sisters set off together. At the lake, they take a moment to absorb the calm and beauty of their surroundings. Julie grows especially introspective, admitting there's nowhere else she'd rather be. When George arrives back at number 11, he stumbles upon one of Julie's video messages, in which she gently urges Eileen to rethink her relationship with him and maybe even consider ending it. Meanwhile, at the lakeside, Julie asks Eileen to go grab some drinks, but when Eileen returns, she's faced with a heartbreaking scene. Julie lying motionless, her eyes gently shut. Overcome with fear, Eileen hurries to check if Julie is still breathing, but it's already too late. Julie has passed away. Later in the week, as Eileen grapples with the shock of her sister's death, George finds himself distracted by Julie's final words and the potential implications for his relationship with Eileen. His worries only deepen Eileen's distress during her mourning. Will Eileen honor her sister's last heartfelt request? Tensions rise on Coronation Street next week as the community mourns the loss of Julie Karp. The cherished resident had been battling stage 4 cancer, choosing at first to keep her diagnosis a secret upon her return to Weatherfield. Eventually, Eileen and Todd uncovered the truth and promised to support Julie in making the most of her remaining days. In the upcoming episodes, one of her final wishes comes true as she enjoys a serene day by the lake with Eileen. A newly released clip captures the sisters soaking up the sun and having heartfelt conversations. They reflect on love, and Julie opens up about reconnecting with Brian. Concerned for his well-being, she asks Eileen to look after him once she's no longer around. Eileen becomes tearful and attempts to lighten the atmosphere, but Julie remains calm and content. She assures her sister that there's no other place she'd rather be. Tragically, when Eileen returns with drinks, she discovers Julie lying motionless on the picnic blanket. Her sister has peacefully passed away. As the town grapples with the heartbreaking news, Roy Cropper quietly honors Haley's memory by baking a candlelit cake for her birthday. Meanwhile, back on the street, Eileen struggles to come to terms with everything that's happened, though George's efforts to discuss their relationship create added stress. While Eileen just wants time to mourn, George seems focused on their future, sparking tension between the two. Could this strain signal the end of Eileen's time on the show? Controversial figure Mick is about to stir up more trouble in Coronation Street, adding yet another name to the growing list of people he's come into conflict with, this time by lashing out at a missing and vulnerable local. Earlier this week, Mick struck up a friendship with Gary Windus and showed interest in his plan to purchase the builder's yard. Maria Connor was initially convinced that Mick spelled danger and warned Gary to stay away, but her perception began to shift after Mick stepped in to protect Liam from two troublemakers at the precinct. Later at the bistro, Mick shared a drink with Maria, Gary, and Liam. But while the adults were distracted, Mick sneakily gave Liam a shot of vodka, joking that he was officially one of the lads. In upcoming scenes, Todd is informed by Danielle that Theo has vanished. Outside, a clearly intoxicated Theo stumbles along the street and runs into Mick, who quickly escalates the situation by provoking him. The confrontation turns physical when Mick loses his temper and slams Theo against a wall. Luckily, Ronnie arrives just in time to defuse the altercation and orders Mick to back off. Later in the week, Mick's behavior catches up with him as he's arrested for suspected assault. Lisa requests that Kit handle the interview, much to his discomfort. Feeling nervous, Kit rushes through the questioning in the interview room and releases Mick, who finds the whole situation amusing. But things take a turn when Mick corners Kit afterward, insisting they need to talk. Could there be a deeper link between them? Coronation Street continues Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with episodes available to stream on ITVX from 7 a.m. on the day of broadcast. Gary and Maria make a risky choice in upcoming Coronation Street episode on ITVX. Intense scenes airing tonight. Coronation Street couple Gary Windus and Maria Connor may come to regret placing their trust in a questionable neighbor. The pair decide to give local troublemaker Mick Michaelis a second chance after he unexpectedly comes to the rescue of Maria's son Liam, who finds himself cornered by bullies. Friday's episode begins with Gary eagerly preparing for a new chapter as the new owner of the builder's yard, having just bought it from Ed Bailey. He assures Maria that he's determined to make the business thrive, though she remains frustrated with him for brushing aside her concerns. Initially, it looks like Maria might convince Gary not to bring Mick on board. After voicing her suspicion that Mick spells trouble, Gary appears ready to retract his job offer. However, the situation takes a turn when Liam is confronted by two delinquents at the precinct who rob him of his phone. Just when things look bleak for Liam, Mick intervenes, retrieving the stolen phone and scaring the bullies off. Grateful for his actions, Gary and Maria rethink their decision. Believing there might be more to Mick than his shady past, they reluctantly decide to give him a shot. But it doesn't take long before warning signs emerge, hinting that Mick may cause more problems than he solves. The full episode airs tonight on ITV1 with early access available now on ITVX. Viewers can expect major developments in the coming weeks as Mick's storyline intensifies, leading up to his dramatic departure this summer. Cast members were recently spotted filming a special flashback episode that will delve into the hidden history between Mick, his wife Lou, and Detective Kit Green. Coronation Street continues on ITV1 every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m., and episodes are also available on ITVX.